Hi everyone, and thank you for tuning in to watch this video. My name is Debbie, and I am from Spill the Tea Leaf Readings and More. After a recent reading, a client mentioned that other people she knew would be interested in getting readings from me if they only understood what a tarot reading could offer. So, inspired by this client, I am taking the time to make videos to highlight different types of tarot readings a person can get. Yes, this does include love and career, but I'm going to go beyond that. If there's a certain type of spread you'd like me to focus on next, please leave a comment. Otherwise, the order of these videos will be based on a whim. Not that that's a bad thing. For this video, I'm going to focus on decision-making tarot spreads. These type of readings can help by giving you perspective on all options. At the end of the day, the decision to make is still yours, but these spreads may give you the clarity you need to make a choice. Even disagreeing with these readings helps you figure out what you really want. It's like when you're in a restaurant and you can't decide between two meals. A friend might say, just get option A. Your reaction to that informs you more than your friend trying to make decisions for you. After all, if you're really craving option B, your friend trying to force A on you tells you what you need to tell the waiter what you really want to eat for dinner. This is the same. These spreads offer guidance, but ultimately, all the power still lies with you. So use these spreads to help inform you, and then check in with yourself to see if what the cards reveal is what you really want to do before blindly following what they tell you to do. Before I start, some basics. Generally speaking, you need to ask the cards a question in your soul, if not out loud, in order for the cards to work the way you want them to. I am going to be using pre-made spreads, but readings work better if the questions you ask are the ones you are pondering. So when you get a reading done, work with your intuitive guide to create the questions and the spread, personalize it for you and your current situation. This is something I am always willing to do for my clients, although sometimes the pre-made ones work just fine without any tweaking at all. Uh, how the cards are read depends on the reader, the client, the situation, and the cards themselves. The cards I'll be showing you are just examples, and I'm not actually reading for a person, not even myself. It's all in service of showing you what the tarot can do for you. And of course, if you like what you see, let me know and subscribe, and maybe even get a reading with me. If that is something you are interested in, you can email me at info@spillthetealeaf.com. All right, let's get started. For all of these spreads, you're going to want to shuffle your deck, but it doesn't matter how you shuffle. I love shuffling the cards like I'm at a poker table, bridge and all, but that's just me. When pulling your cards, you can take from the top of your shuffle deck or even pull cards randomly throughout the shuffle deck. I would just recommend staying consistent in what you choose. Okay, so the easiest way to use tarot cards to make a decision is by pulling one card that will give you a yes or no answer. There are, however, two different ways to read the card once you pull it. You can interpret the card as you would for any other spread, or you can base your answer off how the card is laying. If the card is upright, the answer is yes, and if it is reversed, the answer is no. Using the Lovers card as an example, let's take a closer look. I'm going to start with the second method here as it's quick and then go back to the first. The card is upright, therefore the answer is yes. Easy peasy. If you were to interpret this card, generally I would see this as a positive card, which would lead to a yes. However, if your question is, should I leave my girlfriend? Well, this card probably would end up being a no because it is the Lover's card after all. At the very least, it can signal partnership if not straight up romance. Then again, if your question is, should I leave my girlfriend for someone else? I'd say this is probably a yes, since this card does tend to be on the more lustful side of love. Interestingly, though, and just to throw a wrench into things right off the bat, this card can also be about choices. So perhaps this card is actually telling me to make a pros and cons list and listen to my heart rather than giving me a straight up yes or no. It's amazing how many answers you can get from just one card. On to our next spread. Here's another relatively easy one as there are only two cards. This spread is one you would use to compare two options that you have. It's almost like using tarot cards to make that pros and cons list I referenced with the last card. If you have more than two options, you can also add cards to this spread. But if you find yourself with more than four options, I would try to narrow it down before involving your tarot cards. Let's use the Seven of Wands reversed and the Ten of Cups as an example with this spread. So I swear I just randomly pulled these two cards. It's almost too easy to see the overwhelming positivity of option B here. And there's no doubt in my mind that the Ten of Cup wins. Option A can be about giving up and feeling overwhelmed, whereas option B is all about happiness, family, and home. Of course, how you interpret the cards depends on your query, but I'd be surprised if the Seven of Wands reversed made option A seem more appealing. Let's take this a step further. I added a card so you could see how the spread would work with three options. The third card is the Six of Cups, another good card. This is the nostalgia card that reminds you of fond childhood memories and the like, but can also be about giving or receiving gifts. So, this is when it's really helpful to know what the options are you were looking at here. I would normally say that the Ten of Cups is still going to be the winner, but what if you're trying to decide if you should go to a reunion? Option A is stay home, option B is to go to the reunion, and option C is host your own reunion where you only have to see the friends you want to see and not all the random people you went to high school with. Option A is out for sure. Going to the reunion will fill you with joy, but maybe only if you bring your family with you. Option C allows you to relive your glory days. Depending on who you are, one of those is going to be more appealing than another. I personally would choose B and C in this case, like get my friends to go out to dinner with me and then we all go to the reunion together or something like that. However, you decide to read this spread, there is one really important thing. As you shuffle and lay the cards out, make sure you are crystal clear on which option is which, or you will get a muddled answer that won't be helpful at all. Okay, so next up are two three-card spreads. The first spread is similar to the last one we looked at. Here you have your two options, but then we add an advice card. The second spread from Emerald Lotus asks, what do I really want from this situation? What is my internal compass guiding me towards? And the outcome if I move forward with this decision. In other words, this one digs a little deeper and is also really good for self reflection. Let's look at an example for that first three-card spread. Our two options are represented by the Nine of Pentacles and the Three of Wands reversed. The advice card comes in the form of the Six of Wands. So the Nine of Pentacles is about luxury and enjoying the fruits of your labor. The Three of Wands reversed is an indicator of either poor planning or being afraid to leave one's comfort zone. Based on this, it seems that the two options are ones that involve hard work that will take you to a new place, and then the other option is one that takes very little effort. The advice card is all about accomplishment and public acknowledgement. So perhaps you should choose the one that will bring you the biggest rewards, which is option A in this particular case. Go big or go home, right? Let's change course and look at the tarot spread for uncertainty. Card one is the Nine of Wands, which is wariness, but also resilience, perseverance, and courage. So, what you really want from this situation is to survive. Card two is the Three of Cups, which is a celebratory card of friendship. Your internal compass is guiding you towards having fun with your friends. And card three is the Justice card. Truth, justice, law and order, consequences, and karma are all wrapped up in this card. So let's say you were trying to decide whether or not you should tell a friend a hard truth that would hurt their feelings or change their life view. I'm going to use Dawson's Creek for this one. Joey saw Dawson's mom kiss a man that wasn't her husband. Does she tell her best friend Dawson what she saw? He might not believe her, but if he does, it will shatter the world as he knows it, as he truly believes that his parents' marriage is perfect. He might also lash out at her, even though she, Joey, didn't do anything, and their friendship could be over. So, what Joey really wants is for her friendship to persevere, or maybe she's wondering if keeping a secret like this would eat at her, or if her ability to lie would persevere. After all, such a thing would add to her weariness in this world, not that this is something she'd want. Her internal compass is guiding her towards friendship and having fun. She is a teenager and shouldn't have to deal with such adult issues. The outcome, well, if you're a fan of the TV show, you know what happens. This card predicts it. By withholding the truth in order to preserve the friendship and the happy-go-luckiness of being a teenager and allowing Dawson to do the same as knowing that his knowing would take some of his fun and youth away, Joey is just delaying the inevitable. Every action has a consequences, and truth will always win out. Joey will have to deal with the consequences of lying or of telling the truth. Either way, things won't end great, not right away, at least. Card 2 is guiding her towards friendship, but is it telling Joey to delay the truth to do so or to do so by telling the truth? Okay, moving on from Dawson's Creek, there are lots of generically named decision-making spreads out there. So for the purposes of this presentation, I've named this the Making Decisions spread. This one is from Labyrinthos. They actually have a really cool free app if you're interested in learning more about tarot and having access to a daily pull and things like that. So this 5-card spread looks at your motivation, ideal outcome, your values, and then the likely outcome of option 1 and option 2. So this is obviously another spread where you are trying to choose between two things. And here's an example of the spread using the Devil reversed, the Queen of Swords reversed, the Hermit, the Two of Pentacles, and the Eight of Wands. First, it's worth noting that there are 2 major arcana cards and 1 card for every suit except for Cups. I won't really get into that too much here, but when doing a full reading, these are definitely things to look out for. With the Devil reverse, motivation could be feeling detached or, depending on the situation, feeling addicted to something. Ideal outcome using that Queen could have to do with cutting yourself off from others with the sword, obviously. It could also mean that you want to stop looking at everything from such an analytical point of view and be more emotional or connected to your emotions. Having the Hermit representing your values shows that you value taking time for yourself and time for reflection. So far, there's a lot of separation being shown by these cards. So if you go with option 1, the likely outcome will be good financial management, but going with option 2, you'd find action in your future. Now, all of this depends on what you're trying to decide. If you're trying to decide whether to buy one stock over the other, I'd say this spread is telling you to trust your gut. Option 1 stock will have you juggling finances a little, but you'd have money. Option 2 stock would be about buying it now while it's in motion, or you could miss out. But that's just one example. Here is a very cleverly named decision-making spread. Again, I'm naming these spreads just to help differentiate them a little here, but they're all very generically titled even before I use them here. So this one is from tarottechnique.com, and it looks at your current situation, your concerns, your wishes, and then option 1 and option 2. And here's an example for this spread. We have the 7 of Cups reversed for the current situation. So this is about someone who lives in a fantasy world. The 8 of Pentacles represents concerns. So um, this is a person probably concerned with the time and effort needed for whatever it is they are doing. Maybe there's no time to learn the skills they need for something coming up at work. The third card, the Ace of Pentacles, is all about manifestation and abundance. This person is clearly wishing for things to go their way and just happen for them. So to recap, Fantasy World doesn't want to put work in, just wants things to fall in their lap. Option 1 is the High Priestess reverse. She is disconnected from her intuition and lacks knowledge. Option 2, the clear choice here is the Ace of Cups. There could be a new relationship on the horizon, or at the very least, you could find yourself connecting more deeply with your emotions and even with your intuition. So these two options end up as almost opposites. If it's a choice between taking a class and just winging it and hoping for the best, with the latter actually being option 1, the cards are sending a pretty clear message. And here we have a Making a Decision spread from tarotavenue.com. Here we are looking at the pros and cons for each of your choices and advice. This, like the last few spreads, is for 2 options. So I decided to use the same cards for this example as I did for the last one. So option A turned out to be all pentacles quite randomly, which would be interesting if this were a real reading. Essentially, the pros for choice A would be focus and discipline and perfecting a skill. The cons would be that it might lead to too much of a good thing. For choice B, the pros are that you might lack information, but depending on what this is, it might be a good thing to not know everything that's involved. The cons would be that this choice leads to overflowing emotions, which maybe just wouldn't be called for in this situation. For advice, the Seven of Cups reversed could be saying that you need to stop living in a fantasy world, in which case you choose A or B, depending on which would help you do that. It could also be telling you that it's okay to dream and shoot for the stars. Interestingly, this card is also about an overabundance of options, so perhaps it's saying the outcome is up to you, but you have to choose something. Okay, so there are two spreads left here. This one is 6 cards and can also be found on tarottechnique.com. This is similar to the last one, but doesn't have advice and expands on each of the two options you are looking at, in addition to the pros and cons for each option. Here we have the Emperor for option one. So it's something that abides by the law or creates a sense of order, perhaps. The Moon reversed is the pros of this option. So this card can sometimes mean secrets or danger, but that doesn't sound like a pro, does it? I'm going to go with illumination instead. The King of Pentacles reversed are the cons. He is a poor leader who doesn't know how to manage finances. It's almost the opposite of the Emperor who is representing this option. So choose this and you'll see things for what they are, but boy, will there be a mess to clean up. Option two is the Knight of Pentacles, who is practical, methodical, and reliable, although maybe a little boring too. The pros, as shown by the Knight of Swords reversed, are that you'll be able to move past some grief or depression you've been experiencing. And the cons are that you may find yourself resisting change or holding on to something that's over. The pros and cons for option two feel like opposites here, but moving on from the emotions you're feeling doesn't guarantee that you're ready to move on to the next chapter. Either way, option two sounds better to me. So, this last spread comes from the Skeptic's Tarot, and I have named it Complex Decision Spread because it is complex. It's a doozy, really. So, this spread has 15 cards and requires several slides to look at it. So, here you can see how the cards are arranged for the two options. And here is a breakdown of what each card means. The first card is a situation you find yourself in, and cards 2A and 2B represent your two options. Card 3 asks, what is the most important thing to consider while making this choice? And then cards 4 through 8, like number 2, are two cards, one on the option A side and one on the option B side. What is the best thing that could happen if I choose this option? What is the worst thing that could happen if I choose this option? What is my motivation for choosing this option? What do I want from this option? And what will probably happen if I choose this option? And then finally, card 9, or really card 15, asks, what might happen if I don't make a choice, which can be a choice unto itself. Here are all the cards I randomly pulled for this example. I wanted you to see them all together, but I'm going to break it down on the next two slides, looking at option A and then option B. Cards 1, 3, and 9 will be seen on both slides. All right, so here we go. So the situation is that you've been taking a break, resting, reflecting, relaxing. That's the Four of Swords. Option A is represented by the Queen of Wands reversed. She can lack confidence or be overconfident, be super aggressive, or a shrinking violet. So let's say the spread is looking at two jobs that are on the table and you need to choose one of them for yourself. You've maybe been unemployed, hence the resting and reflecting, or maybe find that your current job isn't challenging enough. Option A is a job that has you traveling a lot, let's say, and option B is one that is remote, just for the sake of this example. So the Queen of Wands is maybe showing that this job would have a lot of ups and downs where you might be shy, but you'd have to pretend to be confident, which might lead to seeming overconfident. The most important thing to consider when making this choice is strength reversed. So maybe you want something that will bring you inner peace, keep you calm. So far, option A isn't looking great for that, but let's continue. 4A is temperance, which is great. This card shows that the best thing that could happen if making this choice is finding inner balance or harmony. The worst thing that could happen is the Page of Swords reversed. So you could come across as ignorant and uncommunicative, or maybe have to work with someone like that, which can make the job impossible to do. Your motivation for choosing this job is the Knight of Cups reversed. So there are a lot of court cards here, huh? Again, something that I would take the time to consider more if this were a real reading. This knight, when reversed, is someone who is moody, jealous, or unrealistic. So your motivation could be that you picture yourself having a great time traveling from place to place, but that's actually really unrealistic. Or maybe you're jealous of someone you know with a similar job and you think taking this job will make you feel better about yourself, at least when comparing yourself to this person. What you want from this option is the King of Wands. He is charismatic, a great leader, someone who is passionate and leads by example. Is this who you want to become, or who you're looking, or maybe you're looking for a better boss? The Six of Pentacles reversed shows what will probably happen if you choose this job. This card indicates not a lot of give and take, but rather a lot of giving, period. So it seems that this job might ask too much of you, and you only have so many spoons to give in this life. I'm going to hold off on reading the final card after I look at the other side of this spread. All right, so we already talked about cards 1 and 3, so I'm going to skip those here. Card 2B is the Queen of Pentacles reversed, another court card. She does not have a great work life balance, so working remotely might cause that for you too. After all, if you're working from home, there would be a lot of temptations taking you away from doing your actual job, and you'd be spending a lot of time at home. Card 4B is the Five of Pentacles, which can be about fears you have or the inability to ask for help or even recognize that it's there for you. In this position, this is supposed to be the best thing that could happen to you if you choose this option. I would say that this card is telling you that you'd be working alone, you'd be pretty isolated, and will have to learn to help yourself a lot. For some people, this is great. The worst thing is the Five of Wands reversed. So the best and worst things for this option are both fives, conflict cards. This card in particular could show that you'd constantly be in competition with yourself. Seeing as how card 3 was all about finding a job that would bring inner peace, this doesn't sound too tempting. Your motivation for choosing this job is the Ten of Swords, so maybe this is your out. Maybe this job is guaranteed more than the other one and you desperately need a change. From this option, you want the Ace of Swords. Okay, you want clarity, focus, and good communication. Well, if you're working with yourself, you might find all those things. Card 8B is the Knight of Swords reversed. He tends to rush into things without thinking. He charges into battle without strategy, without a plan. If you choose this option, you won't have time to think. You'll just have to go, go, go. Man, this option is not looking great at all. The final card, card 9, is the Eight of Cups, which is about moving on. If you don't make a choice, you'll still be moving on. So if you don't like either of these options, don't choose them. There will be another way to get out of your current situation and walk away. For me personally, that sounds like the best option. But if you need money or you really feel that you have to pick one of these options, I personally would go with option A, the travel job, over option B, the remote job. And that's it. Wow, that was a lot. Believe it or not, there are still a whole bunch of decision making spreads out there that I didn't include here. I hope you enjoyed learning about these spreads and that they can help you bring you peace of mind next time you have a decision to make. If you are interested in getting a reading done similar to what I've shown you today, please feel free to email me at info@spillthetealeaf.com to book a reading with me. In my next video, I'll highlight a different type of spread, and I do hope you'll join me for that. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and comment below if you want me to cover something specific sooner rather than later. Thanks for watching, everyone, and have a wonderful day.